anytime these days consumers walk into a supermarket or a shopping mall or they're shopping online, what happens is they face a vast number of options, and they have to process each one of those. They have to understand what each product does and which one is going to meet their needs the best. Now, when you think about it from the consumer standpoint, the moment you face a bunch of different options, you think, oh, this is great. I have so many options, and one of these products is going to work for me. One of them will meet my need. Now, the moment you start making those comparisons and try to look at the options and try to understand which one is going to be better, then your decision-making process actually becomes really, really taxing. It's very cognitively challenging. You have to keep all of those options in your mind. You have to process them, and you have to evaluate them and compare them and choose one. So that takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of effort, and also our attention span and memory doesn't allow us to do that. So in that respect, consumers initially who are very satisfied that they have all of these options available to them become completely confused and more often than not unsatisfied with the process because they don't know how to choose. The economic situation, yes, does have an impact on most consumers. If anything, consumers are stressed out. Consumers have limited resources and also reduced perceptions of job security. So the way they evaluate their budget, the way they feel like they should be making decisions has changed. They want to make the right decision. They want to make sure that they look at all of the options that are available to them and pick the one that's going to meet their need the best. Our study actually looks at a very similar process of, in a high complexity decision environment, what do consumers do? How do they simplify their choices? And what we find is that the key is the attention process. It's not about the information that's being communicated because, as I mentioned, these products are very similar to each other, so there is really no objective difference that gives you information. So you need to rely on other cues. So what happens is people start looking at the options. And because of what we find is because of the biological composition, or you could say because of the way the visual system works, they start looking in the center. And what we observe is they, after the center, they look at all of the other products, but they have already started having this preference towards a central option. And once they realize, maybe at some point during their search process, these products are not too different from each other, because they have already extracted a lot of information from the central option, they come back to it. They look at it more and more, and what we see is this feedback loop that's created. They look at it more. Because they look at it more, they become familiar with it. And because they're familiar with it, they like it. And because they like it, now they look at it even more. What we find in our research is very interesting. After we look at the attention process and ask consumers, so now that you have made this choice, can you tell us a little more about why you have made it? Now, what's interesting is they report to us that they're indifferent between all of the options that they have looked at. They think that they're all of similar quality. They think that they all provide the similar benefits, and they're pretty much equivalent in terms of popularity amongst other consumers and whatnot. When we also ask them, what do you remember about the product you have chosen and the ones that you haven't chosen, the amount of information that they retrieve is also very similar. So they have looked at this product more, they've chosen it more often than not, but they have made no inferences about it. They don't think it's better. They don't think it's more popular. They don't think it's any different than the other products that they have looked at. They've just chosen it because it was in the center of the product category and because they looked at it more. So from that standpoint, it's very difficult to predict that they will come back to the store and next time they need it, they're going to choose the same product. What we find is that they're satisfied with the choice process. So they've enjoyed making the choice. They thought the choice was easy, and they're confident they made the right choice. So from the retailer's perspective, yes, we would expect them to come back and do more shopping in that environment. But from the brand's perspective, unless the brand really delivers exceptional quality, once the consumer uses it, then if they're facing similar choice situation where they don't really know what to choose because they don't remember anything more specific about this product, I would not necessarily predict that their next purchase will be the same brand.